Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Oh boy. Shout out to BGS. Excuse me. Shout out to BGS. Shout out to Passport OG. Wow. Okay, so Passport OG, man, getting through that Themis video is gonna be tough. I already checked out part one. I'm gonna check out part two. Oh boy. Wow. Okay. So let's get to it. Why are we doing this? First, to respond to Miss Jasmine Theodora. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Which is the mixed young lady, mixed race young lady that BGS and Passport OG. Well, did Passport OG cover her? No, that was Passport OG covered Themis. That BGS covered, right? Miss Jasmine Theodora. And Miss Jasmine Theodora, whose husband has the strongest pimp hand on the planet, because he took a mixed liberal black woman who was raised with a white father and turned her into a conservative mixed black woman. Well, that pimp hand stronger than a mug, right? Or is it really? I mean, she's a mixed black woman with a white father who married a white man with a beard. And we already know white men with beards symbolize power. Don't take my word for it. I'm going to give us some information from, once again, PhDs. You know, so let's call a thing a thing. Mr. Z is going to play a couple of clips that he's played before for the 1 zillionth time. My apologies, everyone. It has to be done. It has to be done, right? Miss Jasmine Theodora, you know, I really despise this weird way of pigeonholing black men into being failed white men, right? Um, to all my conservative brethren tonight, you are not going to like this stream. This playing down the plights of black men, playing down historical racism, anti-blackness directed towards black men, and calling black men who speak about this, who study this, who do research on this, calling them victims, speaking about it as if they're promoting victim mentality, is a real gaslighty backwards way of telling black men, yeah, we did it, now shut up. And to see black women or black adjacent women or mixed black women do this kind of weird ass, well, you talking about it, so you playing victim. And nobody wants to be with the victim. Just call it what it is. You want to practice racial and economic hypergamy, just like all other women. Dear black women, what makes you different than the Asian women and the Latina women? What makes you different than the indigenous women? What makes you different? I'll wait. Oh, that your interracial marriage rate numbers are lower? The thing that you call loyalty when it's really not loyalty, it's white men's anti-blackness? This mixed black woman literally, her framing was immaculate, right? She's had access to well-off, attractive, successful, darker skinned black men, but she can't help but view them as victims. As essentially losing the racial hierarchy game, right? As essentially not being white men. And then she turns around and marries a white man with a beard. By the way, if you didn't check out the clip that BGS played, where she, as a matter of fact, I checked out her actual video, right? And when she blurs out her husband's face when they're getting married, but you can see the beard. White man with a beard, power and authority. Ma'am, you didn't have to low key, high key, throw black men under the bus to say, look, I wanted to be with the man. You didn't have to say, well, I'm tired of seeing all these images of black men and, the victim mentality. And, my professor, he played. Stop. So whether it's black liberal or progressive women, whether it's black conservative women or black adjacent conservative women or black mixed-ish conservative women, black mixedish liberal or progressive women, whatever reason you want to end up with Mr. McWhite, go ahead and end up with Mr. McWhite, Mr. Cartwright. If they will have you, go ahead. But all of these backwards way, backsliding, insulting, you know, of black men, it's just weird. If you want to end up with Mr. Cartwright, go ahead and try, and hopefully he will have you, right? It's real interesting, the framing of this. So I'm gonna play a couple of clips for you guys. Excuse me. I'm gonna play the first one, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. But yeah, her framing was really interesting. It's she's tired of seeing these black men in this victim position. Black men have been historical victims of anti-blackness. It's very interesting, essentially telling black men to shut the hell up about white oppression on them. It's very interesting to tell them that they need to merit their way into essentially being elite white men. Essentially telling black men, until you become elite white men, I mean, you really can't say nothing. And then she does the whole essentially defecating on ADOS black men because it's not really about race. Once again, her white husband, Pimp Hand, boy, that Pimp Hand is serious, but she makes the same argument the racist white dudes make. Well, is it really racism? I mean, like, the Nigerians have more PhDs, and I mean, the Asians. I mean, is it really racism? Oh, in her case, is it really anti-blackness? I mean, Nigerians. I mean, they make more money. They're more successful than your average white dude. I mean, Nigerians. Huh. White father, white husband, and yet she thinks she got a leg to stand on. You're telling black men to shut up about their plights with a white husband and a white father, and you think you have a leg to stand on. Wow. The arrogance. You think you're saying something new and special and novel. Dear black men, shut the hell up about your plights. So we're going to play this. Excuse me. We're going to play this, and we're going to return on the other side of this and explain why this matters. Once again, shout out to BGS. I don't know why I can't get the BGS out. Shout out to BGS. Shout out to Passport OG, Miss Jasmine, Theodora. Wow. Okay. And here we go. Once again, spit shine budget, shoestring budget, Velcro budget. Y'all should still be able to hear this clearly though. And here we go.
Are related to the broader kind of social political discourse. And so I think that that's a thing that as research on online dating or just kind of dating generally, I think goes forward. I think we need to move beyond just what is your political party affiliation. And I think really kind of get into these other kinds of deeper, I think, aspects of politics and how that is shaping, kind of how people, as I called it, right, vet each other. But I think also, right, this shaping of what it means to be desirable, because again, right, it seems to be kind of confusing, right, that people want people who are, I mean, they'll say they want people who aren't racist, who aren't sexist, who aren't XYZ, right, because that's what you're supposed to want, right, but then they seem to have this kind of confusion or this disjunction where they still desire, right, kind of cisgender, heterosexual white men, and particularly with the women that I interviewed, there was a lot of desire for white men with beards, this very particular aesthetic that they were very attracted to.
My apologies, everyone. Elk, since it turned volume down, can't bear to listen to these women who gave up on being black. My apology. I'll find a way to kind of lower the volume a little bit on that recording. Essentially what let's say that one more, Genzi. Say it again, Dr. Chantel Buggs, PhD in demography, or is it sociology? Either one, she studies this type of thing. Essentially what she's saying is there seems to be a disjunction with what women of color in this case, say they want and what they really go for. And they have this thing with white men and beards. White men with beards. Huh. Miss Theodora, I wonder. Okay, he said, "Oh no, no, no," saying I turned my volume down. Okay, okay, okay. He said you're fine. Okay, my apologies. Okay, okay, I understand. Right? Huh. Now, will you look at that? These women are virtue signaling all this extra stuff and how they're open, but it really come back down to the white man's peen. Huh. Right? So, in other words, what Miss Chantel Bugs is saying are all of these women are virtue signaling, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the white man with the power and authority. Thank you, BGS. Social dominance theory. In this case, social dominance order ain't no theory, right? Wow. See, Miss Jasmine Theodora, Miss Theodora, you ain't saying nothing we already didn't know. You just trying to frame it in a way. It's interesting. FD, foreign man in a foreign land. That's on the left, right? Kim Foster, right? That's on the left, right? Themis kind of walks this weird ass, both conservative but make liberal arguments sometimes too, right? So Themis is all over the place politically. But once again, this argument, right, that these women, they don't really have a choice but to date out and look at their divorce rate. Let me address, and shout out to Passport OG. Let's address Themis real quick. Women in America file for 70% of divorces, 90% of divorces when they're college educated. Now, when you couple that with what the American Enterprise Institute told us back in 2017, 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class, 56% of upper middle class and above. And you couple that with what Kimberly Crenshaw tells us about intersectionality, right? Black plus woman is at the bottom. All right, I disagree, but all right, for argument's sake, fine. So black plus woman is on the bottom, white plus man is at the top, right? Okay, cool. Then you couple what Bell Hooks told us about women taking the status of their men. Dear Themis, that means that black women that marry white men ain't leaving. They got the lowest divorce rate. Duh. And your point is, you mean the black woman who's black plus woman is not divorcing the white man who's white plus man in a white hegemonic society. But you're trying to attribute that to black men having some type of character flaw and not black women's hypergamy. What? Huh. Once again, the framing. The framing, y'all. Jasmine Theodora, Themis, FD signifier, boy, this framing. Whether they're on the left, whether they're male feminist, whether they're on the right, mixed black, it doesn't matter. The framing is always is Jermaine's fault. And now you have Miss Theodora with this weirdo conservative divestment thing going on, telling you, no, it's the imagery that I saw of black men always being these victims, and you know, it's the liberal media and it's the liberals, and then she plays Malcolm X. Well, huh. You play Malcolm X, but you forget to mention that Malcolm X grew up in an era where men like your husband and men like your father would be calling Malcolm X boy. You forgot to say what happened to Malcolm X's father. Whoopsie. From the hands of men that look like your father and your husband. Yikes. Huh? Boy, this framing be off the chain. Right? So let's play that one more again, right? From Miss Jasmine Theodora. And then we'll play the second clip. Very interesting to watch as these people continue to reach to try to frame this. So you have the liberals and the progressives on one side, then you have the conservatives on one side, whether they're fully black ADOS black men, whether they're mixed um foreign black with white. Wow, whether they come from working class backgrounds, whether they come from elite backgrounds, all of these black people, mixedest black people, black adjacent people, all saying, Jermaine, it's your fault, right? Just call a thing a thing. Black women, mixed black women, black adjacent women are all under white penis chase. Conspicuous consumption meets race. Conspicuous consumption meets dating meets race. Equals, once again, the white man's penis. Right? It's okay, ladies. It's okay. Mr. Z understands. And let's play this one more again.
Are related to the broader kind of social political discourse. And so I think that that's a thing that as research on online dating or just kind of dating generally, I think goes forward. I think we need to move beyond just what is your political party affiliation. And I think really kind of get into these other kinds of deeper, I think, aspects of politics and how that is shaping, kind of how people, as I called it, right, vet each other. But I think also, right, this shaping of what it means to be desirable, because again, right, it seems to be kind of confusing, right, that people want people who are, they'll say they want people who aren't racist, who aren't sexist, who aren't XYZ, right, because that's what you're supposed to want, right, but then they seem to have this kind of confusion or this disjunction where they still desire, right, kind of cisgender, heterosexual white men, and particularly with the women that I interviewed, there was a lot of desire for white men with beards, this very particular aesthetic that they were very attracted to.
The shaping of what it means to be desirable. You can't make this up, people. You can't make this up. So we're watching shaping, framing. We're watching as these people attempt to frame, shape their desire to be on the white man's arm. We're watching them frame that in a way that still blames Jermaine, still blames you, black men, for images of you being the victim of white hegemonic power, which, okay, you were and somewhat still are. And so, oh God, wait, but seeing black men in this position gets the giny all dried up. I can't do it. It dries the giny right on up. Right? Huh. So that's the framing. Right? That's the framing. Nah, can't have it. I refuse to have black men pigeonholed in a position where, yeah, now we can't talk about white hegemonic power no more because it makes us look soft and like victims. What are you, a bitch? What are you, a woman? Oh, you a victim now? Oh, we can't talk about the death no more. You imagine? Look at the framing of Miss Theodora. Y'all lucky Mr. Z ain't ADOS and not wealthy, because I would hit them with a new movie about slavery every goddamn year, a new movie about Jim Crow every single year. Every year. I would beat the small hats to it. The small hats want to drop a movie or something about the atrocities that they faced. I would beat them to every year. They'll get a movie about Jim Crow and slavery every single year. Y'all lucky Mr. Z ain't rich and is not ADOS. The idea that now you talking about it or having to live with the historical repercussions or historical traumas of you being the victim, now they want you to shut up about it because you ain't no real man. Get the entire hell out of here. So we ain't going to look at the people that did it a certain way. We're not going to look at the people that benefit off of it and try to play it down a certain way. We're going to look at the people that historically are the victims. like they're losers. Hmm. What did I tell y'all the other day about these people that are perfectly okay with being with the dope boys and being with the grapers and pillagers of the planet? And their actual issue is that you aren't the grapers and pillagers of the planet, that you didn't go do it. Or better yet, your ancestors didn't go do it. Huh? Look at the framing, right? Thank you, Dre. Black men are victims by choice if you let them tell it. Exactly. Exactly. And what about all these other men who are on the wrong side of white hegemonic power? Huh? The Japanese, the Chinese, the Indians. I mean, yeah, but just because y'all see a couple of successful and educated Indians in Britain, in Canada, in America, the vast majority of them are living in squalor back in India. Huh? But that British rule, though. Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that. Can't do that. Aboriginal people in Australia, can't talk about the struggles. Native Hawaiians, can't talk about the struggles. Indigenous folks still in the Amazon, can't talk about how they burning up and taking up all the land. Nope, can't do it. Nope, nope, nope. Taino Indians, oh yeah, y'all wiped out. Can't say anything. Tasmanians, yep, y'all wiped out. We can't talk about that either. Whoopsie. Huh? Indigenous folks of Canada, what they call them, the First Nations. I think that's how they refer to them in Canada, something like that. Yep, can't talk about your plights. Nope, nope. Too much. All you men, y'all victims. Y'all victims. Y'all playing victim. Right? She had the nerve to bring up merit and meritocracy. Oh boy. She had the nerve to bring up merit. Shout out to your husband, boy. That pimp hand strong. Ooh. Imagine that. A mixed black woman with a white father and now a white husband thinks she got the authority to tell you that you playing victim and that the portrayals of you are they're too, it makes you look kind of weak and soft, and so you're saying you want to practice racial and class hypergamy. Okay, wait a minute. Excuse me. Not that you want to, that you did. Okay. Wow. Wow. Right? So let's play this other clip. This one is a bit longer. I played this the other day, but there's a part at the end that I didn't play, and I caught it this time. So we're gonna play this. It's a couple minutes long. And then we're gonna come back after, and we're gonna respond to this because we're responding to Themis, right? But we're also responding to Miss Jasmine Theodora with these clips, right? Because everybody acting dumb all of a sudden, not even all of a sudden, everybody's acting dumb and being very obtuse. No, women of color want to be politically, socially, and some of them even phenotypically white women. And it's that simple. And not just any white women, upper middle class and above white women. And that's what all of this is about. And until y'all address that, y'all are playing in black men's faces, but y'all are used to doing it and y'all okay with it. Actually, you kind of enjoy it. So here we go with the second clip. Once again, another PhD. This is Dr. Jennifer Lundquist. The previous clip was Dr. Chantel Bugs, not some LGBTQ attorney who's speaking on heterosexual issues, right? And not a mixed race model. First of all, Miss Chantel Bugs, excuse me, Dr. Chantel Bugs is also mixed race, so there's that also. Whoopsie. Here you go, yo.
Just in a very brief generalization. There's a lot of detail in the book, but I'm going to give you a quick summary of what those findings were of how people interacted with each other. So what we found is that race is the deal breaker of all characteristics. It operates more strongly than education, physical characteristics, it is the deal breaker. And one of the things that we often found, which I thought was interesting in interviewing, especially many of the white men, is this aggrieved feeling that they were disadvantaged
Pause, Tro.
in online dating, and that they were being ignored. And yet, in our quantitative analysis, we find that white men are the most desired of all men. And this has been shown in many other platforms too. So this is not specific to the platform that we're looking at. Our quantitative analysis showed that almost all women, or all women of all races, and almost all gay men, actually black men did not show this, that their preference was strongest for white men. Now this preference for white men was statistically significant for other races, but especially strong for white women. But I found it really interesting that women and gay men of other races would respond first to white men and only secondly to men of their same race. So on the other hand, when it comes to preferences for women, so if we look at the ways in which straight men and lesbians, who their preferences are, who they interact with, etc., we found that unlike for men, whiteness was not the defining characteristic per se, but the defining pattern was for same race preferences, so contacting others of the same race. Men of all races and lesbians of color do not seem to have a first preference for white women, but their same ethnic group. And unlike straight women and gay men, they're also more open to people from all racial groups, and this is really important, except black daters. So we document a persistent and specific anti-blackness that operates among the sexual preferences of white, Asian, Hispanic, multiracial, straight men, and gay men.
Multiracial.
Lots of theories based on our interviews for why this may be, but basically, in terms of why is it that white masculinity is so highly valued, more so than, say, white femininity, because we assumed that given racial hierarchies and norms around hegemonic beauty, that white femininity would also be highly valued. But what we find is that white femininity does not carry the same kind of appeal across all groups, in large part due to patriarchy and gender norms, right? So the association with white masculinity is not just associated with sexual allure, but it also symbolizes economic and cultural power in a way that femininity generally does not, right? And in our interviews, while there is plenty of resistance to this among individuals, we also see that this sort of valorization of white masculinity is really something that's been internalized and reproduced by marginalized groups as well. So that's a sobering finding.
Wait a minute. What did she say? What did she say? The valorization of white masculinity. The valorization, I'm sounding like Dr. Umar Johnson. The valorization of white masculinity, is replicated in marginalized groups, if I recall correctly, right? Well, will you look at that? She also said we see a persistent, pretty much downgrade from multiple different groups and there's this anti-blackness. She also included multiracials. Miss Jasmine Theodora, you're a multiracial. Man, look, man. When I said the internet will expose us all, when I said we are not as unique, we are unique. Human beings are unique, but we're not as unique as y'all think. Many of us, what we do, what we say, how we act is so predictable. There's a reason why they call it the school to prison pipeline. There is a reason why they tell you they can guess they can have a pretty accurate guess of your trajectory in life by the zip code, because of course they created the system to screw you in a certain way. They could predict the trajectory of your life by the zip code you were born in or raised in, something like that. And yet Miss Jasmine Theodora thinks she's saying something as a mixed black woman raised by a white father who now has a white husband. You thought you said something. What are you saying that's different than the way that Asian women are acting? God damn, see. Whoopsie. What are you saying that's different than the way that Asian women, especially American born Asian women, are moving right now? I'll wait. What are you saying that's different than Chrissy? What are you saying that's different than Lexus Exodus? Huh? Cynthia G? What are you saying? So Dr. Jennifer Lundquist wrote a book. Dr. Chantel Buggs, I think she's also part of this project, right? They did research and wrote a book about people exactly like you and predicted people exactly like you, and then you turn around and speak to us like what you're doing is new and novel, and how you're speaking is new and novel, and something that black men should consider. We already got you figured out, ma'am. Themis, this is what it is. Themis, see, the thing is, you're not putting wood to black women, so you don't know what the hell you're talking about. If we want to go anecdotal, if we want to go factual and research, well, we got the research right here. You still don't know what you're talking about. What I should have clipped also was the TYT coverage of the American Enterprise Institute research that once again 26% of poor Americans, 39% of middle class Americans, and 56% of upper middle class and above Americans are married. That's before we even factor in race. Well, will you look at that? Y'all swear y'all saying something, you're not. And Themis, you should be ashamed of yourself because you're a whole what? Attorney. Huh? Black women really got to ask themselves, what exactly is Themis doing? This is a gay black man who claims that what he cares about you that much? What's his angle? Ooh, Z, don't do it. Ooh, it's too easy. It's too easy. Boy, the jokes, boy, I'm holding. Ooh, ooh, I got. Ooh, because if you switch out angle for position, boy, the jokes, the jokes, the joke. Right. So black women are listening to the mixed black woman with the white father and the white husband, and the LGBTQ black man who clearly has an issue with straight black men. Well, I mean, if this is where you're getting your advice from, I mean, what can I say? Right? Huh. I'm covering this first. Shout out to BGS because BGS knew it. And he said it earlier in the comments, right? BGS knew I was going to cover this. And you already knew I was it, right? You already knew it. Right? He said, I knew you would like her. Oh, and like, look, man, these little mixed black women who out here virtue signaling for other black women and doing the whole, yeah, well, I've seen dark skinned black men in movies and TV, and then the liberals, and they're always victims, and then, merit. And if you just do well, and then, I'm going to bring in the fact that, I have African ancestry, and then Nigerians with the, out doing and more successful than the white folks, and yawn. I once again would like to remind y'all, and this is why Mr. Z brings up the Asian community and Asian women. Asian men aren't doing this quote unquote complaining all the time, right? This quote unquote complaining, this whole victim thing y'all saying, Asian men not doing that, right? This whole look, the white men is success, and yeah, that's cool. Asian men got more money than them per capita, and guess what? American-born Asian women still marrying out. Explain that. Huh. So this young lady who's married to the white man with a beard, shout out to Chantel Bugs, Dr. Chantel Bugs, sorry, thinks she's saying something. Dear FD signifier, this is what we were speaking about. Huh? It doesn't matter how they frame it. FD, if you out there somewhere listening, you probably not. This there it doesn't matter how they frame it, bro. It always come back down to the white man's peen. We're you listen to the black women, whether they're politically on the left, politically center, politically on the right. You listen to them long enough black women, not all. Once again, not all. Mr. Z, you got to say it. I said it. You listen to enough of them speak. Somehow we're gonna end up under the white man's scrotum. Kind of where Themis wants to be. Goddamn Z. They could frame it however they want to frame it, right? Wow. And Miss Theodora thinks she's saying something special. You're not saying nothing special. Let Dr. Chantel Bug say it one more again for y'all. Here we go.
Are related to the broader kind of social political discourse. And so I think that that's a thing that as research on online dating or just kind of dating generally, I think goes forward. I think we need to move beyond just what is your political party affiliation. And I think really kind of get into these other kinds of deeper, I think, aspects of politics and how that is shaping, kind of how people, as I called it, right, vet each other. But I think also, right, this shaping of what it means to be desirable, because again, right, it seems to be kind of confusing, right, that people want people who are, I mean, they'll say they want people who aren't racist, who aren't sexist, who aren't XYZ, right, because that's what you're supposed to want, right, but then they seem to have this kind of confusion or this disjunction where they still desire, right, kind of cisgender, heterosexual white men, and particularly with the women that I interviewed, there was a lot of desire for white men with beards, this very particular aesthetic that they were very attracted to. In a very brief generalization, there's a lot of detail in the book, but I'm going to give you a quick summary of what those findings were and how people.
I'm gonna stop it right there. I'll play that again in a minute. Look, this is about black men's image and black women like Miss Theodora and Chrissy and Lexus Exodus, right? And Cynthia G and their character assassination on black men because they just want to be kept white women. They just want what white women have. I get it. I get it, right? You just want to be a white woman. I get it. You want to be upper middle class white woman, right? Miss Theodora is doing her best rendition of what's her face, the princess, right? Meghan Markle. There we go. Oh, Mr. Z almost forgot. Okay, fine. Your mom was with a white man. You with a white man. Okay, Megan. Right. While jabbing at black men and say, I believed in this and the liberal media and shout out to Mr. Theodora, boy, that pimp hand. You got her sounding just like you, player. I see you. That's the way it's supposed to be done. Talking crap about black men on the low, acting like she not. Right? See, this is the part of the conversation that the left and even the right don't want to actually talk about. Hypergamy across race. Ooh, it looks real ugly. Ooh. Hypergamy across race is how you get 54% of American-born Asian women marrying outside their race, primarily to white men. Hypergamy across race is how you get these loud ass divestors, low key, kind of like Miss Jasmine over here. Huh? Hypergamy across race is how you get what 60 some odd percent of, and I get it, indigenous women is kind of the situation is a bit different. Once again, how many percent of them marry outside, mainly the white men again? Hypergamy across race is how you have that long ass video of white men walking across Asia, different places in Asia, and just grabbing Asian women's hands in front of their boyfriend, right? Getting Asian women's phone number in front of their boyfriend. You get that because once again, white man, white hegemony, right? Huh. So this young lady thinks she was saying something new, novel, um, essentially telling black men to shut up about their issues and their plights, and shut up about white hegemonic power and the grape and pillage, and you sound soft and you sound weak, instead of these a-holes that went around the planet, great pillage, conquered and destroyed, and most of the white men still ain't doing all that great. Oopsie. And there's great great grandsons, great grandsons in the Midwest are dying off of opioids. Oops. And in about 15 states, it might be more than 15 at this point, they have a higher death rate than birth rate. They got a negative birth rate. Ooh. Yeah, that part. But those are the guys that we were supposed to imitate, y'all. Those men. Huh? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Talking about super chats. Better uses. Do you think Themis got some? I gotta even finish. Wait, wait. Okay. Collect yourself, Z. Discipline. Better you trying to make you laugh. He already won, but here we go. Right? And Better You says, do you think Themis got smashed and dashed by a black man and that's the source of his vitriol? Sounds weird hearing him talk as he's not a black man. Man, look, man, yeah, he does sound like a disgruntled black woman. But this is, if you grew up in the hood, we all know Themis, right? Maybe not a Jamaican Themis, but we all know a Themis, right? He adopts all of the he for all intents and purposes, like on his day to day, he emotes like a black woman. He speaks, and I'm telling you, like, being part of the Caribbean community, you meet these kind of people, man. Like the Caribbean LGBTQ person, whether they're Jamaican or Haitian or they're people from Trinidad or the USVI, you meet these people, man. Like, I'm telling you, whether they're people from Bahamas or you meet them, right? Barbados or what man, I'm telling you, oftentimes raised by a single mom also, but they emote and they reason and they, right? And for many black women, these are their greatest allies. These LGBTQ brothers who kind of get off, parroting some of the most, you know, toxic vitriol coming from black women. And these figures, I'm trying to be kind, um, they love it. They relish it, right? They love it because, like Better Use alluding to here, they might have had some issue with a black man, or they feel like they're getting back at their cousin or their uncle who used to make fun of them, or who used to, beat up on them or bully them, right? They feel like they're getting back at them by saying things about black men in general, or regurgitating, bitter, angry black women rhetoric about straight black men. So they're perfectly okay with being that tool for black women. They love it, right? And every once in a while, one of them will say something like what Funky Geneva said to Claudia Jordan, which he said before, which is, sometimes you straight black women weaponize us against straight black men, right? And when we get into it, then all of a sudden we not your cool, friend anymore, right? And I can't remember the name of the light skinned brother. He kind of alluded to that also. Yeah. So yeah, Themis does have the energy of like a vendetta. Of course, he has the energy of a vendetta. This is like a scrawny. If you really, the man is a attorney, right? But from what we can see, a skinny. I think he's Jamaican. I think he's Jamaican. Skinny Jamaican gay black man with a lisp. Of course, he got a vendetta against straight black men. Of course. And he may not. All of that's speculation. We don't know if an uncle or a older brother or a guy cousin or just black men in general ever said anything to truly make him feel uncomfortable. He could just have adopted, and it clearly, black women will give you a pat on the head and maybe even give you a couple of dollars. He might have just adopted this way of viewing the world for black women, and that's the road he's on, right? Lord Lilsmith, I ain't gonna highlight it. It's funny though, funny, right? So yeah, Themis is predictable, man. Lord Love Smith know them brothers exist. He know. You gotta own it, Love Smith. You gotta own it, right? Everybody in the Caribbean got a cousin like this. Just like in the black community, everybody got a cousin like this. Or even if you don't, you have a neighbor 4 houses down like this. We all know them, right? And so and the fervor at which Themis goes at this is very clear. It's very clear. There's some vindictiveness at this. There's some get back at this, right? Huh. So yeah, Themis vibe. We already know what Themis is, and we know who Jasmine Theodora is. We know who y'all are, and y'all swear y'all saying something. Yes, correlation is not causation. Absolutely yes. With that, Themis, man, this is cake. You're a freaking attorney, bro. Do better. This is cake. Look, the divorce rate between. I ain't gonna do how. I'm not gonna try to imitate his real voice. Please, God, no. Um, right? The divorce rate between black women and white men is lower. Of course it is. Wait a minute. White men ain't checking for black women, generally speaking. Let's call a thing a thing. Screw all that loyalty talk. Stop it. Then we understand class. Then we understand race. And there's multiple studies, multiple research that speak about women in general, including women of color specifically. That would include black women. and how they valorize white masculinity and white patriarchy. And you trying to tell me a black woman that does land her a white man is going to leave? Stop playing dumb, Themis. So I don't know if your goal is to keep black women perpetually single, because I'm gonna call a thing a thing. If black women don't end up with black men, they don't end up with nobody. Whoops. Now, hey, Z, you said it. I said it. And I always say it like this at the end, and they better come over here with a smile. For the vast majority of black women, if they don't end up with black men, they don't end up with anyone. Have fun with your rose toy. Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. Keisha ain't going nowhere, and that's why she be throwing a goddamn fit. She really want to be an upper middle class and rich white woman and elite white woman so bad. So bad. They all wish they could be Miss Jasmine Theodora and Miss Jasmine Theodora's mother. They all wish they could be her. Sorry, y'all can't be her. Shout out to the Raj report. Raj sent me a super chat one time. Z, where they think they going? Exactly, Raj. I don't know where they think they going. Right? Throw the temper tantrum all you want. You are not. Most of y'all will not be Miss Jasmine Theodora and her mother. Sorry. That even includes most of you African sisters. Y'all could throw all the temper tantrums y'all want. Right? Have fun fighting the white woman for the elite white man. And the Asian woman. And the Latina woman. And the indigenous woman. And I'm not talking about having sex with him. Stop. Talking about what you talking about. That wedding ring. Right? No, I did not, Mr. Jake. No, I did not. Did you see the Gabonese swirler who went viral and got violated by other black women? No, wow. Wow. Right? So yeah, we're responding to and once again, thank you for the super chat, better you. Thank you for the super chat. Right? But yeah, we're responding to better you kill me with that. That's hysterical. Oh, did he get smash and dash? Maybe, right? Maybe, right? Hysterical. That was funny, better you. But we're responding to Miss Jasmine Theodora because she thinks she's saying something. Miss Theodora, you ain't saying nothing. We're used to you, Miss Theodora. We know who you are, Miss Theodora. Jeez. And shout out to BGS. Yeah, BG hypergamy. Right? That's all. This and it's once again conservative divestors. Like I don't, and y'all remember the actually the conservative divester chick with the Confederate flag as a mask. I actually was thinking about her a little bit when I was formulating some of the things I might want to say here. And you remember how she was really trying to incite Attorney Dennis Sperling when she interviewed with him. Well, I don't care about that, and this race thing, and then she was really trying. Shout out to Dennis Sperling, who was ice cold. Once again, Iceman, right? Ice cold with his responses to her, and he definitely did not let her get under his skin, right? Because that was her whole entire goal. But it's very interesting, these weird, once again, these Candace Owens, these Jasmine Theodoras, these what's her name, divested conservative women who just like, well, yeah, anti-blackness, I don't even know what that is. What's that? Well, just merit your way through. I mean, stop talking about this racism and white supremacy and white hegemony. It's a figment of your imagination anyway. That ain't real. And you look weak and you look soft by speaking about the men like my husband and what they have historically done to you and every other group of men on the planet. Oops. Could you stop talking about men like my husband, please? It makes you look soft. No, it makes your husband and his ancestry look like the monsters they are. Yikes, Z. It makes your husband's ancestors look like the monsters they are, and it makes your husband look like the person that's attempting to maintain all of the boons and the gains from that ill-gotten gain. Nice try on trying to what? What y'all think? Y'all Jedi's? Trying to Jedi mind trick us into not speaking about this because you married to a white man all of a sudden? If you don't get the entire hell out of here? Or it makes you look, we want the men at the very top. Yeah, we know that already. We know you don't care if you end up with a drug dealer, a scammer, a person that kicked grandma out the house when she only had 5 months left on the house. We know you don't care. We know you don't care if you end up with Mr. Short Mustache Man, as long as he provides you a lifestyle. Dear women, we know. I didn't say black women, I said women. We know your hypergamy, it goes unbridled for the vast majority of you. You don't care who you end up with as long as he offers the lifestyle. We know. Oh yeah, thank you, KW Don. Divested conservative woman is not married. She's in a long-term relation engagement. I almost forgot. Thank you for the reminder, because I remember telling her, yeah. And Buddy Rowe probably is thinking about, Mr. G, you gotta say it again. I'm gonna say it again. He's probably thinking about one of us when he's smashing you. Ugh, bleh, bleh. But once again, shout out to Mr. Theodora. We see you got your wife out here doing the business, doing your bidding. Nice. Huh? Telling us to shut up about our plights and the history of our plights. Shout out to you, Mr. Theodora. Huh? You gotta love it. Huh? She going in on her black college professor or university professor. She going in on white liberal media. She bringing up Malcolm X as if Malcolm X would have liked her. Y'all both got white ancestry. Malcolm would not have effed with you, lady. Nice try. Put money on it. Put money. Malcolm would have looked at you and your husband like, ugh. Nice try. It'd be funny when these people try to throw Malcolm or Martin in your face, and you're like, hey, do you know anything about Malcolm or Martin? You think they would have liked you? You think they would have aligned with you on like anything? You try to throw Malcolm in our face. Yeah. After everything you said, you think Malcolm would have aligned with you? And you got a white husband? Maybe you need to do some research on Malcolm instead of cherry picking quotes and not putting them in their full context. Right? Trell killed me. Brad Hart Jamal. Y'all all know a lot of these Brads secretly. That's what it's really about, though. Yep. Exactly. Malcolm's mom would have had smoke for her. Exactly. If you know anything about Malcolm X's mom's background. Thank you, Jake. But she's trying to throw Malcolm in our face. If y'all don't get the entire hell out of here, I probably, boy, y'all be so damn predictable. Themis, Miss Theodora, y'all ain't saying nothing new. Do you know how long it took me to? Oh, well, I know exactly that. I know the timestamp now of exactly. Let's go back to the dating divide because the last time I don't remember how long ago. So let me just go to the dating divide. Record. All right, got it. Let's look up Dr. Jennifer Lundquist. Got it. Dr. Chantel Bugs. Boom. It don't take me no time to respond to y'all no more because y'all not saying nothing new or unique or novel. If you've seen Cynthia G, you've seen them all. If you've seen Chrissy, you've seen them all. If you've seen Lexus Exodus, you've seen them all. Amanda Marianne, you've seen them all. It doesn't matter whether they're more left leaning or right leaning or center. Center left, center right, dead in the center. When they make these arguments about the white man's penis and the white man's ice being colder, the angle in the framing, the position, giggity, doesn't matter. Because it's always Jermaine's fault, and somehow, because it's Jermaine's fault, that's why we ended up under the white man's scrotum. And it's usually not a Latino, it's usually not an Asian. Let's not even go there. That's not a real thing. It's the white man. Right? Y'all can frame it however you want to frame it. Right? Let's play this clip from Miss well, I keep on saying Miss, sorry, respect. Dr. Jennifer Lundquist. And y'all be very clear to listen to the last part of what she said, right? So let's get to it. Y'all give me 1 second, and here we go. Once again, Spitshine, but like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Spitshine budget, shoestring budget, Velcro budget, and here we go, y'all.
Just in a very brief generalization, there's a lot of detail in the book, but I'm going to give you a quick summary of what those findings were of how people interacted with each other. So what we found is that race is the deal breaker of all characteristics. It operates more strongly than education, physical characteristics. It is the deal breaker. And, one of the things that we often found, which I thought was interesting in interviewing, especially many of the white men, is this aggrieved feeling that they were disadvantaged in online dating, and that they were being ignored. And yet, in our quantitative analysis, we find that white men are the most desired of all men. And this has been shown in many other platforms too. So this is not specific to the platform that we're looking at. Our quantitative analysis showed that almost all women, or all women of all races, and almost all gay men, actually black men did not show this, that their preference was strongest for white men. Now this preference for white men was statistically significant for other races, but especially strong for white women. But I found it really interesting that women and gay men of other races would respond first to white men and only secondly to men of their same race. So on the other hand, when it comes to preferences for women, so if we look at the ways in which straight men and lesbians, who their preferences are, who they interact with, etc., we found that unlike for men, whiteness was not the defining characteristic per se, but the defining pattern was for same race preferences, so contacting others of the same race. None of all race and lesbians of color do not seem to have a first preference for white women, but their same ethnic group. And unlike straight women and gay men, they're also more open to people from all racial groups, and this is really important, except black daters. So we document a persistent and specific anti-blackness that operates among the sexual preferences of white, Asian, Hispanic, multiracial, straight men, and gay women. We have lots of theories based on our interviews for why this may be, but basically, in terms of why is it that white masculinity is so highly valued, more so than, say, white femininity, because we assumed that given racial hierarchies and norms around hegemonic beauty, that white femininity would also be highly valued. But what we find is that white femininity does not carry the same kind of appeal across all groups, in large part due to patriarchy and gender norms, right? So the association with white masculinity is not just associated with sexual allure, but it also symbolizes economic and cultural power in a way that femininity generally does not, right? And, in our interviews, while there was plenty of resistance to this among individuals, we also see that this sort of valorization of white masculinity is really something that's been internalized and reproduced by marginalized groups as well. So, that's a sobering finding.
So, to Mr. Theodora, could you stop sending your wife out here to look like a goddamn idiot? Dear white man, you ain't doing a really good job at protecting her. At least not her image. Dear Mr. White Man with the beard, your wife is out here speaking reckless and foolish and loud and wrong. Oh, it's the victim, and the liberal media, and. No, ma'am, you're a mixed black woman with a white father who ended up marrying a white man because of racial hypergamy. Yawn. Mr. Theodora, stop sending your wife out here to do your bidding. It's too easy. Stop sending your wife out here to tell black men to shut up about our plights, about our issues. Your brethren over there in the Midwest is dying off of opioids. How about you talk about that? The hell up out of here, man. And to Themis, once again, I don't know which brother broke your heart, which brother you might have been feeling. Well, you never know. Themis might be in the white dudes too. You never know. But the data does show that LGBTQ brothers be into other black men. I'll make y'all throw up. Even they want the mandingo. I said it. Oh, oh man, Themis needed Charles in his life. Charles, you just walked. Charles, like what? Wait a minute. Oh, oh man, Themis need a wrestler in his life. Oh man, Charles, like what the hell? Wait a minute, Z, I just walked in here. Oh man, you know. Oh man. Charles said, I gotta do Charles a solid. I gotta read it. And Charles said he likes car guys. He want you to what he said. He wants you to park that thing right inside. Nah, bro, y'all got the potholes in Baltimore. I can't do it. I bet if I get to that sentence, y'all are gonna throw up. Let me know. I'm gonna spare y'all. I'm gonna spare y'all. Right. I ain't even gonna respond to that. Next time I'm on Charles' channel or he's on my channel, we'll get back to it. Oh man, but this thing is crazy. Look, I'm about to come to a close in a minute, but at the end of the day, I'm responding to this because I'm tired of all of this weirdo negative PR towards black men and the framing of Miss Theodora, right? This framing of this victim mentality and this victimhood and the fact that she attempted to say, well, Nigerians and we're doing better than white folks. Which is classic ass white supremacist, anti-black, white hegemonic arguments. I mean, we can't be that racist. The Asians are doing well. We can't be that racist, right? The Africans, I mean, the Nigerians are doing well. What do you mean anti-blackness, Z? Right? If we were so anti-black, why are you even here? If we are so anti-black, explain the success of the Nigerians, right? Meanwhile, we have women like Miss Theodora. Shout out to her husband. Could you sure you want to keep on sending her out here to sound like this? I don't know, right? And then Themis. Oh boy, Themis has some. Which one of y'all? Shout out to Better You. Which one of y'all broke Themis' heart? Right? Which one of y'all broke Themis' heart? Y'all got Themis out here on a warpath. Which one of y'all did Themis flirt with and y'all shut that all the way down? And now Themis is out here just agreeing with divestors and the swirlers and the black men ain't ish black women. Right? No, you know what the problem is? Themis had uncles like Lord Lovesmith. That's the issue. Right? When he was back in Jamaica or whatever island he's from one of the English speaking Caribbean islands, you could tell, right? He had an uncle like Lord Lovesmith, and he now he's taking it off on all black men, right? Or his dad was like Lord Lovesmith, and now we all got to deal with it, you know. And a moment of honesty, you know, Dut reacts. Am I pronouncing that right? Since Themis has daddy issues, in a moment of honesty, or in a moment of honesty, and a moment of like seriousness, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. And I'm not trying to patronize him or pity him, or I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Right? And that's something heavy. Not only are you a same-sex loving black Caribbean, possibly Jamaican man, and you have a lisp, ugh, right? And you don't necessarily present as the most, you know, traditionally masculine man, black man, even from the Caribbean. And I, I wouldn't be surprised if he really does have daddy issues. And that's not me attempting to play down the damage that he's doing with his rhetoric and what he pushes and his angle and how he legitimates some of the weirdo language coming from angry and bitter black women. I'm not attempting to do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Themis truly has real daddy issues. That part too, Earth. That part too, right? I wouldn't be surprised, right? So the brother might, and then that would explain why, he's not just, this is not just a brother that, he's friends with black women and he's LGBTQ and he's their gay homeboy. Black women be having the gay homeboys, women in general. No, the rhetoric and the vitriol and the angle and the framing of many of his arguments and just the energy, right? The passion. And I'm using that word on purpose. The passion at which he goes about this is as a disgruntled, angry black woman. Now that's maybe well spoken, and that because he's an attorney can frame arguments really well, right? And he can cherry pick and put certain data into a certain type of context, right? And he's somewhat disciplined in that way. But once again, the passion at which he goes about this is not someone who sees, you know, black women on the wrong side of black men's aggression and he's coming to defend black women. That's not Themis's energy. That's the way he wants to frame his energy. Nope. Themis's energy is, I'm gonna get you black men. And he can barely disguise it with a super thin veil of intellectualism. It's a super thin veil of intellectualism and discipline and the training that he learned in law school. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he truly has daddy issues. Because I would love to ask Steven, what exactly are you doing here? What's the goal here? To inform black women of what? Black men ain't ish? Straight black men ain't ish? Haven't they been hearing that for decades? Centuries. Decades? What, tell them to expand their options? Tell them they don't necessarily have to be loyal to black men? What exactly are you saying that they haven't heard already? What's the goal here that's supposed to be beneficial for black women? Right? Because this thinly veiled, snarky, sassy thing that you're doing with black women, I mean, what's the goal here? And that's the question for like all of these people. What is the goal here? Fine, you don't care about straight black men. Fine. What's the goal here for black women? You have reached the market cap of single black women who are kick ass and who don't, quote unquote, don't need a man, and who are going to do well and going to be able to retire and not have to worry about not having a man and not having no kids and etc etc. You have reached the market cap of black women who have oops babies from certain men and then break up with those dudes and go try to be a single mother. You have reached the market cap of this. So what is the goal here? You have reached the market cap of these swirlers and divestors in this, white aspirational interracial crap. What is the goal here? I Exactly, Dre. I know this. You still got to ask the question though. And Andre 416 Reform says there is no goal. It's just constant hate, and that's it. The you know, Real Talk with Yanni Decenter Men, the Themis and whatever the hell he's doing, the Chrissy and this colorism swirl level up, get the bag thing, and talking about men like they're absolutely nothing but a walking wallet, right? This Lexus Exodus and calling us nakers, same thing with Paris. Like, what is the goal here? FD signifier admitting to T Noir. Well, I really don't know how to tell black women what they're really asking for is patriarchy, so I'm gonna just let them run rot. What is the goal here? Miss Theodora trying to explain this weird racial, right, hypergamy thing that women are engaging in general, and black women specifically, or women of color engaging in, and black women specifically, when it's not going to work for them, because once again, white men see them as the concubine class that they can have sex with and don't really got to do nothing for. Go ask Kid Rock. Go ask Eminem. Go ask Machine Gun Kelly. Huh? Go ask DJ Diplo. Go ask DJ Pope. What is the goal here? Y'all done reached the market cap for just about all of this negativity y'all throw at black men. And the people it hurts the third most after the kids and black men are black women. Thank you, Kevin Federline. Yeah. Huh. So y'all don't reach the market cap of all of this, and you're still going because a bunch of people that claim to care about black women, clearly not. Let me steal one of Paris Milan's lines. Y'all hate black men more than you love black women. And for some of you, it may not necessarily be hate. It kind of look like hate, right? You despise the fact that black men weren't the ones that raped and pillaged and conquered and destroyed to put black women where about 20% of white women are, more than you want to see black women with black men building, occasionally failing, but still moving in the right direction. Remember, it's not black men that are truly the ones that are risk averse. It's black women. That's why you hear the no struggle love. Huh? That's why you hear I am building with no one. That's why when you do hear the building, it sounds like some super astronomical thing. That if they are going to quote unquote build with you, you got to be on Barack type trajectory. You got to be on Jay-Z type trajectory because they're risk averse as hell. They want a sure thing. Ain't nothing in life sure thing. That's why the swirler and divester thing comes up. Well, if nothing in life is a sure thing, then I might as well get with the man that's going to get me the closest to this sure thing. The white man. Oh, look, the whole competition is crowded out. Asian women over here, Latina women over here, indigenous women over here. They told me to grab a ticket. Ooh, good one, Trell. I said Trell, sorry. Shelby posted really good stuff. Good one, Charles. And Charles says it's called the broken mirror theory. Do you want to break all the mirrors in the proverbial house? Oh, sorry, comment moved up. Do you want to break all the mirrors in the proverbial house because you're afraid of what the reflection will present to you? Whew. For some of these people, yes. Arguably, most of these people, yes. Right? Arguably, most. And Faber says, yeah, and it is sobering. And Faber says, that's pretty depressing to think that your female counterpart is the world's concubine class, like we're allowed to have them out of the kindness when other guys are finished. Yes, and what it looks like is a good chunk of black women ain't necessarily trying to fight against that. While they mock us for being the quote unquote mandingos, I'm not saying that black people, and I actually disagree with this idea that black people put themselves in the position. What I'm saying is that it doesn't look like Negroes is actually trying to fight to get out of this, black women, and that they just try to find interesting ways to feel better about being the concubine class. Right? Huh. Passport OG, thank you. We tell black women they are beautiful. They just want to our validation. They want that cold ice. They want the white man's cold ice, exactly. Exactly. And that's all. So once again, shout out to BGS, shout out to you, Passport OG, right? Shout out to you first of all for beating me to Themis' part two, right? And actually I'm pretty sure you watched the whole thing through. Shout out to you for that. You know, for you brothers, y'all don't understand the the strength it takes to listen to these people. Y'all get it. That's why y'all don't do it. Smart, Mr. Z's not. Right? But the strength it takes, right, to listen to these people, find really interesting ways to just getting back to it's all Jermaine's fault and Brad worship. They just frame it really interesting, but it pretty much always comes down to yeah. He's doing a part 3 to it. Okay, yeah, he did say he was gonna do multiple parts. And Passport OG says Themis is getting on FD right now. Yeah, he did say he was gonna do multiple parts, right? And as a matter of fact, the first one says 1 of 5, so that's to be expected, right? And as PK said, the concubine class of America, exactly, right? So that's all. It look, Miss Theodora, nice try, but unfortunately for you, these people really I don't know what year they think we're in. This is not 1980s when we got to go to the library and or we got to go to our uncle's house for the encyclopedia or our aunt's house or maybe we got encyclopedias in a closet somewhere and we got to flip through books. We don't have to do that no more. We're not even in the era when you got to go to the library with slow ass dial up internet. We not there no more. We have all of the world's information, or just about most of the world's information, at our fingertips, and yet y'all still talking reckless, right? Dre says, "Z, you doing the Lord's work." I listened to one divester video for a couple minutes, and I couldn't take it. And he says a lot of and Diaspora L says a lot of content creators in the purple pill space get on FD. Yeah, they didn't like that swirler video because he, tried to, to the brother's credit, we still disagree with the angle and the framing and even some of the information, but he attempted to a certain extent to say, all right, look, black men ain't chasing after white women like that. Y'all chill out. They ain't doing all of that, and they not trying to hear that. And he kind of got on black women about a little bit about their white penis chase, just a smidge, right? And then he framed it and wrapped it around. Look, this is just rich white capitalists who refuse to show successful, normal, regular black families. So the best they can do to show a kumbaya is some black man with a white woman or a really black woman with the white man, and they're over indexing on that in the media, whether it's commercials, whether it's television shows, they're over indexing on black woman, white man thing. Because for them, that is the best way to show that this country isn't racist is by showing some white man, quote unquote, loving on his black wife. Once again, let's frame that correctly. A white man who could have anyone he wants because he's the master of the universe, choosing, this is where intersectionality comes in, a black woman, black plus woman, which is supposed to be the bottom, and white plus man, which is supposed to be the top. He has the option to choose any woman, an Asian woman, a mixed light skinned woman, another white person, a white woman, choice to be gay, and he chose, once again, black plus woman. And this is the white media's way of attempting to show, look how far we've advanced. We've advanced so far that white men, who are the kings of this, are choosing black women, who are the bottom. Right? So, yeah, the purple space is going to get on this. Because no one really wants to have a macro conversation, and this is where Mr. Z comes in, about white patriarchy, consumerism, conspicuous consumption, materialism, And when you put all of that in a pot, when you put neoliberalism in a pot plus feminism, what you get is the stripping of your common man's power and wealth, hoarded in the hands of mainly the elite, and that's white men, the top 20% white men. And so when you mix class and race, or classism and racism, plus neoliberalism and consumerism, you end up with what you have now: gay men minus gay black men, and women doing a mad dash for the first and closest white penis with some status to it and some money. But everyone is trying to frame it in a way that doesn't seem like they're as cold and calculating as they actually are. Whether it's Asian women, whether it's Latina women, whether it's black women, whether it's gay men, everyone's trying to frame it like it ain't what it is. It is what it is. Right? And on that note, everyone, let me pause right here. Truly, you know, y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Did this, shout out to you, Miss Jasmine Theodora. Yawn, Mr. Theodora. Stop sending your wife out here with the racist talking points, with the low key racist talking points. High key. Your pimp hand strong though. Not really, because you're a white man and she has a white father. It didn't really take too much, right? Once again, not really. But you got your wife out here thinking she's saying something new and novel, and she really not, right? Exactly, Trell. Yawn, complete yawn. But I get it. I get it. And we're gonna play this one more again for good measure, and we'll close out. And y'all already know. And here we go. Wait and see what the hell. Oh, there we go. Here we go.
Are related to the broader kind of social political discourse. And so I think that that's a thing that as research on online dating, or just kind of dating generally, I think goes forward. I think we need to move beyond just what is your political party affiliation. And I think maybe kind of get into these other kinds of deeper, I think, aspects of politics and how that is shaping, kind of how people, as I called it, right, vet each other. But I think also, right, this shaping of what it means to be desirable, because again, right, it seems to be kind of confusing, right, that people want people who are, I mean, they'll say they want people who aren't racist, who aren't sexist, who aren't XYZ, right, because that's what we're supposed to want, right, but then they seem to have like this kind of like confusion or this like disjunction where they still desire, right, kind of cisgender, heterosexual white men, and particularly with the women that I interviewed, there was a lot of desire for like white men with beards, like this very particular aesthetic that they were like very attracted to. Um,
Once again, predictable. That is what Mr. Z is saying here. What y'all are positing is predictable. And SMV, is that Garvey? Is that GRV for Garvey 1? Or is it just GRV 1? But SMV, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker. I was not going to forget you, brother. I was not going to forget you. Or sister? Probably brother. Brother, because I'm going to say that GRV means Garvey, but we're just going to say SMV, GRV. And yeah. So, Miss Theodora, predictable. And remember, multiracial. Dr. Jennifer Lundquist also said multiracials. We see a persistent valorizing, I'm just going to say valorizing, of white masculinity, even by quote unquote marginalized communities. Y'all are predictable. Themis, this is predictable. Miss Theodora, Miss Jasmine Theodora, predictable. Right? absolutely hysterical name of that last comment. I ain't even gonna highlight it. And it's true, by the way. And it's true. Oh, absolutely. That's funny. That's funny and true and accurate. Right? So on that note, everyone, y'all have a great rest of y'all night. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long. Um, we'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. I think Art is streaming right now, Art New Style. Y'all go check him out. And y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Miss Theodora, no, just no. Mr. Theodora, could you stop sitting out here like this, please? Please and thank you. Thank you. Right? Shout out to Obsidian. And Themis, bro, you're a whole attorney, bro. Thank you, Trell. Funny because it's true. You are a whole attorney. That's how I know you disingenuous. You are a whole attorney, bro. Stop. Stop with the obtuse, weirdo arguments. You know better. Because y'all start the framing wrong. Oh, they have a lower divorce rate when, black women, white men have a lower divorce rate. Yeah, why? Oh, you want to make a character flaw on black men. How about we look at the whole context? All of a sudden we didn't want to talk context no more? Okay, Dre said Art is not streaming for another 30 minutes. Okay. Right. Y'all check out Art in 30 minutes. And on that note, everyone, look, we're going to end it right here. Yeah. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. These people are predictable. Absolutely predictable. We're conservative divester over here thinking she's saying something spectacular or special or novel or new. You're not. And y'all have a great rest of y'all night. All right, Z out.